nation building.
Good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to MTV Community Forum for another Wednesday. Chris, good evening. I'm your host, Byron Campbell, of course. Chris Diali, our co-host. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Byron, and thank you for allowing us back in your homes this evening on another Wednesday night Community Forum program.
Chris, we have an interesting guest tonight. It's I would say a young entrepreneur, self-employed. Esther Joseph, she operates vegan foods, and she's looking at food security, how to eat healthy but affordable. So this is going to be interesting, Chris.
I think so. I think I know how we eat and what we put in our mouth is how our body is going to live or die. So it'll be interesting to hear Ms. Joseph's concept on some of these things.
I look forward to that,
and how we fight diseases as well.
Yeah, Chris, I know you've worked in the CBI sphere in the past, but I've always questioned you on how sustainable this is. And the latest news coming out of the U.S. Is not encouraging. That at least 4 or 5 Eastern Caribbean countries, I'm talking about Antigua, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Nevis, have been issued notice by the U.S. Telling them that they have 60 days in which to reach new benchmarks, whatever these benchmarks are. But part of the reason they are asking for these new requirements is that they say, one, your citizens are engaged in among several countries, African countries are in that grouping. Your citizens have been engaged in anti-Semitism activities and also anti-American activities. But Europe is looking at that. But Chris, I've always been worried. We are lucky for the time being. Grenada is not in that list. But Chris, are you changing your mind about the sustainability of this and
Absolutely
to what extent
not.
we should go into this the way we are?
Absolutely not. I always tell you can't tell high net worth people where to move their money and how to move it. You sometimes can't even tell them what to invest in. We in our program have put out certain guidelines for the investment, whether it's tourism, ICT, and now we're expanding that to reach infrastructure and other things that is going to happen in our country. So I don't see and when we do the conferences with the specialists in that area that deals with CBI programs, there is still a high demand for that type of investment through CBI mechanisms. So I don't believe so. The US and Europe have been behind us for a while now to modify our programs, and they use all kind of excuses about we're not sure where the money going, it's terrorist financing and all of that and so on. But even within their own countries, they have people who are engaged in terrorist financing through their programs. But they never talk about that. They only talk about us in the Caribbean that have CBI programs. So it's always about the big stick approach, in my view. You either do what I say, or we go pong you out of the place. But the Caribbean leaders have all come together. We're doing a regional understanding through ECCB and to regulate the industry better and tighter. So there is room for us to improve always. But
one Caribbean leader that is totally against it is Gonzalez in St. Vincent. He says this is embarrassing, we're selling our birthrights, and this should not be done.
Well, you can't have everybody agreeing on a direction. You must have some spoiler.
But I don't have the confidence you have. In this,
if you were part of the program, I think probably would.
Probably would, yeah. Yes. So it's a learning process for me. Chris, there is this the procurement issue with the government and this accusation of the minister Andy Williams. We heard the PRO. Of course, he was with us last week, and we just posed a question to him. But he was on one of the current affairs program, talking about the fact that the party has done its own investigation, own inquiry, and they are satisfied, they're convinced that there was no wrongdoing. That's fine. But what's taken the flack now, he also added that he had seen, he's also factored in the report sent by to the Integrity Commission. And so the issue now is, how could he have seen this information or have knowledge of this information, since the Integrity Commission deals with secrecy and confidentiality. And so that's an issue now. I saw a statement by several bloggers, several persons, even the NNP put out a statement asking for explanation.
Well, I don't know what Mr. Reddit would have seen, but how I understand the Integrity Commission operates, if a matter comes up with an individual, whether serving on state boards or ministry in Parliament, representatives, and the report is lodged to the Integrity Commission. It's a report that is lodged to them. The Integrity Commission, based on who lodges the report, will be asked to provide certain information that they will need to start an investigation.
Okay.
So, based on this particular issue, I know the allegations were made by a person who is in the media. Well, not in the media, I shouldn't say that. A person who is accusing him of doing certain things, and certainly they would have...
Well, this is public, it's Jenny Simon.
Right, and they would have called her in, I suppose, to ask what are the information she has and so on, and whether that deserves investigation into the individual and the allegations made. Now, the thing is, if Ron Reddit has sight of what Ms. Simon has given to the Integrity Commission, it's not a breach of confidentiality, it's how he would have gotten the information that Ms. Simon has.
Right, yeah.
Now, the Integrity Commission is under the auspices that everything must be kept confidential when they start the investigation.
Okay.
So if they had a breach there, then that is a different thing for the Integrity Commission. But I don't think that is what Ron must have alluded to. Probably alluding to the fact that he may have seen some of the things that Ms. Simon is accusing the gentleman of, and probably he thinks that is not a big thing to launch an investigation. I don't know.
I don't know. We don't know. We
once the Integrity Commission starts an investigation, it's held in confidence until
because the bigger issue there, and there's been a lot of conversation about it, has to do with government procurement procedures, you know. And I've had the opportunity to work on large projects within the government environment, large as much as $30–40 million. So I'm very familiar with procurement procedures. There are two levels. You have projects that are financed by the government of Grenada, and so you'll find that procedures differs there a bit compared to if that project is financed by, say, the Caribbean Development Bank or the World Bank or a UN agency. In these instances, the UN agencies provides oversight and must provide no objections, and you must make available to them all the records from all the minutes, all the meetings, and so forth. But my experience too, Chris, over the years, and I've worked within both administrations, ministers, in fact, has the opportunity, and have done this, I have experienced this, to influence the outcome of certain procedures.
And that is disappointing.
Yes. That's a fact.
And I'm not doubting that you experienced that, Byron, but that is disappointing. We spent a lot of time when I was in Parliament developing the laws to govern procurement. Why? Because the same international institutions that you alluded to insisted that there was a lot of corruption happening to award projects based on politics more than substance. And we spent a lot of time putting procedures, committees in place, and various levels of approval before you could say contractor X or contractor Y is awarded the project. But when you have the influence of a minister that will probably come and tell you, oh, you know, the procurement have awarded the contract to Byron, and then the minister will come and say to the procurement head or the committee, listen, we need this to, Byron ain't getting this project.
And we
want you to go back out to tender.
And this happens, let me say this.
And that to me defeats the entire purpose. Because you see, we see things still in colors of yellow and green. And until we move past that, and until ministers understand that they could be held accountable for that nonsense, then it will continue.
Or Chris, you're summoned by the Minister of Finance or whoever it is and say, how did this person get this contract? I didn't know about it. Or a minister will walk into your office and say, X is not should not get
And
a
in my
contract
view-
because of their behavior. This happens, and that's my personal experience.
In
Date,
my
time,
view,
place,
that,
and who.
that must never happen.
Yeah.
A minister
So-
must never be able to
so-
call the
so-
procurement chairman
Yeah.
and say how this person got.
Yeah.
Once the committee have
Yeah.
met and all the
Yeah.
procedures have followed,
Yeah.
and the financing institution is happy,
Yeah.
it ends.
Yeah.
You may like or dislike the person that get it, but that's too
Yeah.
bad because of your politics. But
It's what Chris. The conflict in the Middle East. I mean, it's escalating. We see now that Israel has attacked Iran, and the U.S. is talking about joining this conflict. Let's be clear about this. This is a proxy war because the bombs, the planes, the technology, the everything is coming from the United States, and President Trump at the moment notice could say stop. So this is on because the U.S. wants it. But the implication for us is probably the more important things because already the price of fuel, oil is going up. I think last Monday was over 7-8%. So if the cost of fuel goes up, the cost of production also goes up, Chris. And if the cost of production goes up, ultimately, the consumers pay. So we may think, oh, we're sitting down here, no problem. But it's going to affect us, Chris. Cost of living.
yes, the price of diesel announced yesterday
Yeah.
moved by 62 cents upwards.
Yeah.
That's a huge jump
Yeah.
from where it was. So fuel affects everything,
Yeah.
right? Transportation, energy, production, electrical bills, everything. It's across the board.
Yeah.
Production of food, everything.
Yeah.
It gets affected because
Yeah.
you have to use energy.
Yeah.
What is concerning about the U.S. in this situation is the language by President Trump. President Trump's language is that Iran, you don't have a choice when we tell you what we want to do.
Surrender.
Or else, yes. And this is a sovereign state.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you like the politics or what you do,
Yeah.
but you can't tell a sovereign state, in my view,
Yeah.
what they must do or not do, or else you'll pay the price. Again,
Yeah.
the big stick approach.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here, Israel have started this
Yeah.
proxy war, bombing, well, in my view, indiscriminately, killing more people on
Yeah.
that side than
Yeah.
on the other side
Yeah.
because Iran has launched their missiles as well.
Yeah.
The question for us is if the U.S. gets involved directly or not, as they're doing
Yeah.
indirectly
Yeah.
now, is if that war expands. You know the Iranians wouldn't back down, and they could have indirect fallout. They could target countries in Europe and other places for terrorism activities
Yeah.
that can expand this thing
Yeah.
in a serious way that will
Yeah.
put the world in more tension
Yeah.
as relates to war.
It's true. And in the meantime, of course, the genocide in Gaza continues.
Yes.
It's really sad, particularly the starvation and the daily killings, murders that are taking place. People simply, children, women, mothers, going to get food. It's humiliating, it's degrading
Yeah,
when
well,
you see this. It's
Israel wanted a
it-
total annihilation of the Gaza and what
It's-
happens there with the people in Gaza.
just,
But even in our region, Byron,
Yeah.
the Venezuela-Guyana issue
Yeah.
is also a tense issue that's happening.
it is.
The last move by Venezuela to try and annex the Essequibo area, which is, by the way, almost 2/3 of Guyana,
Yes.
and what, of course, forgetting the oil and gas
Yeah,
potential,
yeah.
but they had the elections, they appointed a governor, even though the international community told them not to proceed in this direction until a decision comes out. But they
Yeah.
have gone ahead.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
they-
tension on the border
Yeah.
between Guyana and Venezuela
Yeah.
is at its highest at this point in time. That the Guyanese have said quite clearly.
The ICJ, International Court of Justice.
And the
highest
Guyanese have
court in the
said
world.
no Venezuelan coming into
Yeah.
their territory.
Yeah.
So the military buildup
Yeah.
on the two sides
Yeah.
is significant, and that is
Yeah.
right in our region next
Yeah.
door to us,
Yeah.
literally.
It's true.
So it's something we have to keep an eye on as well.
Yes, I know we're going through a lot of things, but Chris, the mental health situation, we heard the minister announcing this week, the Minister of Health, that the Carlton Home is still on the agenda. They're going through the procurement stage now. This is really good news. But and other initiatives to focus on awareness. But the situation is concerning, and it's impacting men, women, and children. Depression, anxiety disorders, substance abuse are enforced. These three are the most common mental issues we have in the region. But it's an issue, and I'm glad to see the government really taking it on and dealing with the institution. And repairs also to the
Main hospital.
main mental hospital. So this is kudos.
Yes, excellent
Yeah.
news, and we have to give the government a big thumbs up for that. Because
Absolutely.
mental health is a serious issue
Yeah.
in all societies, not
Yeah.
only us.
Yeah.
And it is a disease, it is a medical condition that you go through, particularly
Yeah.
depression. And
Yeah.
depression is one of the areas that is difficult to diagnose, because you see somebody looking good on the outside, but they're suffering badly on the inside and within their brain. So these are things that need attention.
Yeah.
I'm happy that the Carlton Home is back on for substance abuse issues, and those of us that have that problem. And of course, the upgrade to the mental hospital, because the mental hospital is in dire need. I remember years when I was still in Sissons, we had done some upgrade in painting to give the environment a lift and to give them a lift in their spirits and so on. But there's a lot of infrastructure issues that need to be handled.
No, that's true. I'm glad it's coming on, because in the Caribbean, we have traditionally in the Caribbean with poor mental health and expressing emotions has been culturally and socially stigmatized, associated with shame or personal weakness, and even in some cases a lack of commitment to God. So this has been a kind of cultural thing. So I'm glad to see people.
There's some emphasis.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the issues with gangs and what happened and criminal activities could be linked back to mental health issues.
Substance abuse.
Chris,
the Calvini Road, we always on this. I see development still taking place there in Calvini, but the question is, where is the development authority? And we could see the same thing in Port Highway. So there are some things that the development authority has to focus on, and we're not seeing it.
Byron, I talk about this on this program. Probably what we need to do is to get the PDA inside here to explain what is happening in the Calvini Road, just diagonally opposite the gap to go to Confer. And you're seeing the constant dumping of tiff and mud and whatever, and they're spreading it out. And now you're seeing concrete patches coming in the area by cement trucks and so on. And then I did send you some photos on the activity that was happening over the weekend.
I saw it.
Tents were pitched and everybody was selling alcohol and parking indiscriminately on a major thoroughfare. So I don't know where the authorities, even the police, I don't know where they are in this particular thing. And it just seems as though we're getting more unlawful in what we do and how we do.
Chris, final thing, the workers, there's a strike in Bailey's Bacalet, the rehab home for young offenders. What are you hearing there? Has it been resolved?
Not as far as I'm aware. The president of Ms. Hazard of the PWU, who represents them, had said that the issue is their collective agreement has been signed more than a year now, and the terms and conditions agreed to, they have not been effected for the staff. So the outstanding pay and the new rates of pay have not been authorized and the money is disbursed. So they are not happy with that, as you could well expect. I mean, to sign a collective agreement and 1 year after nothing has been authorized or not authorized, nothing has been effected through the agreement. Staff must have a point where they will break and say this is, So let's hope they could get that, because Bailey's Bacalet offers particularly good service
that's really important.
Our young people who have
Chris,
issues.
Chris, before I go off on that same board thing, I mean, one of the policies of the government was to invite nationals overseas with competencies and capabilities, qualifications, experience to sit on boards, and they're able to participate virtually. And that's a good thing with the technology. You don't have to be physically here. And we see this occurring in many boards. That's a positive. And in addition to that, there's a lot of training given for accreditation to these directors. I think is a very important investment. But in the case of the Development Authority, I'm to understand that the chairman doesn't live in Grenada. I think if the chairman of such a board, such an institution, hands on the ground, eyes on the ground, you need to be more in touch. I don't think this is a job that you can do externally. I think this is a job that requires your presence. The chairmanship in particular, you need to be more in touch.
When TPU, as it was originally called,
Yeah.
was a government, a department of government. The reason they statutorized it was to make it more independent of perceived corruption that was going on there with the officers and improvement of plans.
Yes.
Now we have a statutory body, authority,
Yeah.
and we seem to have not the effect that it's supposed to have. I remember the deputy chairman and the chairman spoke highly about what their plans are, how they're going to enforce things and do things in a more efficient way. And you're hearing now that plans have been delayed through the authority for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And construction is a major sector of this country,
Yeah.
and you cannot have one arm of the construction approval process not doing its job. On top of that, you have these unlawful setup of roadside garages and all of these things, and people vending all over the
It's
place.
loose.
Yes, it's very loose. It's unlawful.
Yeah.
You have to say it the right way.
Unlawful.
And we're not having, and a lot of young people have been employed by this authority.
Yeah.
But what are they doing?
Yeah.
Are they engineers? Do they have diploma in engineering? What are they doing to police what is supposed the authority is supposed to do? So we have this lovely thing.
We have to bring the authority here, Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just don't seem to
Yeah.
be.
Viewers, Chris, that's all the time we have. We have to go on. Viewers, stay with us. We'll be right back with our special guest, Esther Joseph, owner of Vegan Foods. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On Wednesday, August 13th, it's Carnival Encore, the ultimate cool down at the Grenada National Stadium. The cool down village opens at 6 p.m. Showtime 7 p.m. It's full stage frenzy with massive performances from Cass,
No sweetness, Taishi weakness, so she
Voice,
But I'm a junkie, the people play jamming.
and many more. Tier 1 Chill Zone tickets are just $125. Upgrade to the White Oasis Premium Village for $350. Or take it all the way with access to the exclusive Carnival Cabana Club. Email sunshinepromoeventsgd@gmail.com for more info. Carnival Encore.
I don't know about you, but I come here to fetch, come to play a man.
The vibes don't end until we say so. Wednesday, August 13th, National Stadium. Get your tickets now from gotofed.com. Brought to you by Sunshine Promotions.
Fit for Life and Allied Laboratories, providing quality care and expertise. Fit for Life and Allied Laboratories, see our in-house doctors and our pharmacies. Get expert care and quality tests. When it comes to your health, you deserve the best. Fit for Life and Allied Laboratories, we're taking care of Grenada.
The Mass officially starts now as Spice Mass Cooperation together with Aura Caribbean is turning up the thing all the way up with Carnival City Fusion Thursdays. It all kicks off on Thursday, May 29th and continues every Thursday into June. We're bringing the vibes to the Port Louis lawn. Gates open 7 p.m. Action starts 8 p.m. Get ready for live performances from your favorite soca, groovy and calypso artists, plus the sweet sounds of steel band, live bands, and all the mass elements you love. Veko, Jab Jab, Shortney, Mokojumbi, Apache, and more. It's more than a line. It's a whole carnival experience. So grab your crew, bring the energy, and come let's celebrate where culture meets pure excitement. Carnival City Fusion Thursdays, Port Louis Lawn, beginning May 29th and continues every Thursday into June. Come, let's play a mass, cause the thing start.
On Wednesday, August 13th, it's Carnival Encore, the ultimate cool down at the Grenada National Stadium. The cool down village opens at 6 p.m. Showtime 7 p.m. It's full stage frenzy with massive performances from Cass,
No sweetness, Taishi weakness, so she
Voice,
But I'm a junkie, the people play jamming.
and many more. more. Tier 1 chill zone tickets are just $125. Upgrade to the White Oasis Premium Village for $350. Or take it all the way with access to the exclusive Carnival Cabana Club. Email sunshinepromoeventsgd@gmail.com for more info. Carnival Encore.
Don't know about you, but I come here to fetch. Come to play a man.
The vibes don't end until we say so. Wednesday, August 13th, National Stadium. Get your tickets now from gotofed.com. Brought to you by Sunshine Promotions.
Good evening and welcome back to Community Forum. And as we indicated quite early this evening in the program, we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Miss Esther Joseph. Esther is a local entrepreneur. Esther is the owner and operator of Stars Vegan Foods. Of course, encouraging you to go more vegan than meat from a health perspective. She's a small business owner. She has produced local stuff. And as you see here on our table is full of some of the things that she does. Yeah. And we're quite happy to stay in the background and we center on the thing that she's doing. Of course, we'll invite her to think. Esther is also very concerned with, food security and what happens there and eating healthy. Because in Grenada, we have issues with nutrition, what we do and how we do it. And of course, as I said earlier on, what we put in our mouth will be the life or death of us. So it's important to have Esther. Esther, welcome. Good evening. We're happy to have you here.
Hello.
So we have a number of things on the table. Let's start with that. Tell us what you have brought to show to the public in Grenada what you have here. And I see you have lovely packaging.
Grenada. I brought a little bit of everything.
Right.
So my name is Esther. I'm from Hermitage St. Patrick's originally.
Sote's lady.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a St. Patrick's lady, but I live in St. George's in Paddock to be exact.
Yeah.
And I operate business in the old pet shop. Okay, so I brought a little bit of what
That's
I do. Yes. So I
So
sell
tell
a
us
lot
about
of natural things that we have in Grenada, spices, things that we use for tea and so forth, bushes that I dry and so dehydrate, and honey, sea moss, things that's good for us.
What got you started in this particular line of business?
Well, I grew up with that. I grew up with the backyard, the garden. I'm from Hermitage, so we're known for nutmeg and cocoa, breadfruit, everything, So it's just natural things every day. Fruits, so I like that.
Okay.
For the past 8 years, I've done a bar, and I grew tired of that, so I want to explore in the vegan world.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I started that in 2022.
How is your market reacting to what you're doing? Because, in Grenada, we always talk about eat what you grow, but we never seem to do it. So probably we need more
I think we have
like
too
yourself.
much. I think we have too much. That's why we take it for granted. And it's a culture shock for me too as well, because everybody's like, they want a beer. Everybody used to me for the bar. So I try to encourage everybody to accept the change. The cooperative, it's going good. I like it. It's more peaceful. And I get to close all year.
You got a little more time for yourself and your family.
Yeah, apart from liking
I mean,
business.
one of the things I see you have in abundance here is
Turmeric.
Turmeric.
Yeah, some people say saffron, but
Yeah, it's not saffron.
it's turmeric. Yeah.
And turmeric, I was reading just recently, is a major anti-inflammatory condiment.
Yes,
For want of a
indeed.
better word.
Indeed.
We grew up doing that. As a matter of fact, when my wife makes soup, she just put a little
For the flavor.
and
Yes,
it gets
yes,
that
yes.
little
If you
yellow.
put spraying, we would grate it and tie it on it,
That's right.
because it's good for that,
Correct.
and it
I
works
remember
very
that.
fast.
I remember my
And
mom
it's a
used to
good
tie up
tea,
her
you
foot
know.
with that and so on, grate it and so on. It will make your foot yellow for a few days.
Yeah, but it works.
It works. The
It
next day you're good.
You're good to go.
So it's an excellent anti-inflammatory, and I think we have taken these things out of our diet. Esther, I would like to get your thought on this. When I was growing up, a major thing in our diet was corn. We used to use a lot of corn.
Yes.
And, we have removed corn in a significant way in our diet. Even coconut milk, coconut oil.
Because we can all buy these things that is being imported, you know,
Well,
so it's easier. It's easier for us to access, and we use our corn mostly to roast, so
Yeah.
we could grow more corn. So we could
well,
use back
I mean,
a lot
we're
of
getting
corn
corn
for
now
soup
almost
and
here,
stuff,
which
you
is a
know.
good thing. Always a GMO corn we get it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we used to have corn. Another major thing that we take out of the diet too is cassava.
Yes.
Because we used to do a lot of farine as our cereal. We used to go, what you call it, I can't remember what they call the flat one they used to make there. There's a name for that, bam bam or
Pan
Yeah.
pan or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Right?
no, I know what you're talking
And
about.
we used to use a lot more cassava in our diet. And there is so much processed food around us now that doesn't seem, and the cancers and the rate of cancers.
And
that we
that's
have.
very poor on our behalf because cassava doesn't need any maintenance.
Correct.
So we need to acknowledge that and do better, I would say, because if farming is so expensive, why don't we grow more cassava?
Yeah.
What's the problem, you know?
Yeah,
So
and
I
we know
think we
we
need
have
to
sweet
make it
cassava.
more,
The days
yes,
gone
more
by was
affordable.
bitter.
Bitter,
And you
yeah.
had to spend a lot of time processing it. No, sweet
Yes,
cassava, you had to do
yes,
anything.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, and right next door in Trinidad,
So I think we need to
Trinidad
focus
use so
on
much
doing
cassava,
more.
and we don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see you have anything here with cassava.
No, I don't, but I would like to make cassava chips
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we have a chips from Trinidad and everybody like it.
Yeah.
So why we can make our
Interesting.
own yam chips and cassava chips and put it in a nice bag, sell it
Yes,
for $1,
yes,
you know?
yes, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Plantain as well, and all of these things.
Right,
And give
plantain,
that to
everything.
our young people in school
Yes.
to feast on. Then instead
Because
of
if you
the
look at
conkles
the
and the other
African
nonsense.
market where the people is even using natural things to make their own baby food. And it's a simple machine. So we need to buy Nestum. We should make our own baby food.
But you know, Esther, and it's
And we have all the
interesting that you go there.
things.
Because I know when babies long ago myself, I grew up on Kalaloo. Mom used to mix the
But
Kalaloo
no.
and sit up and so on. I never knew about baby food.
No,
Couldn't
the baby
afford
mothers
food.
don't know that has died out. So everybody buy the Nestum and the other things, you know.
Just put a little pumpkin in it,
Yes,
sweeten it.
and we can make it much
and babies are
simpler.
much taste. Taste is about health.
Yes.
How is the business side of what you're doing now going compared to, say, when you were in the bar doing what you're doing?
It's much slower, but it's interesting to see a lot of people is actually reaching out to be healthier as well. People is, what is this, you know? Like for instance, chia seed, quinoa. Some of the things that we don't grow here, we don't have, like people is interested because Instagram, YouTube, you see all these things and you know it's good for you, like the spirulina powder. I feel
Right.
just like the moringa powder, we have moringa, we should make powder. We do sell it, you know, but people need to use these things more because we focus on the outside market, but we have everything here.
What about the
You know.
vegan community? Are they responding to what you're doing?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. See, the vegan community is comfortable, I would say, because it's just in Grenada, you just do put in the meat, basically. But you have so much things you could do. You could basically use fruit salad,
Yeah.
Mr. Campbell. You could
Yes.
just suck mango, suck it to orange, and you're full and you're good.
Yeah.
So everybody's quite comfortable. But I think there is room for business
And to me, when breadfruit in
and
season,
growth, you know, making
you
it an
eating-
everyday
Yeah.
thing.
I would not have potato, Irish potato in my house when I have breadfruit in season.
Right.
Yeah, you
Because I
understand.
could do breadfruit
Same
chips.
thing with mango.
Everything.
I could do a little breadfruit
You
boil
can make
and steam it
breadfruit
down.
rolls. I said
Yeah.
it doesn't make
Yeah.
rolls. It
Breadfruit
is
pie,
fried
you
in
do
breadfruit
yeah,
pie.
yeah, yeah. And I don't
So
see
we
why I
need
must
to-
eat potato when I have breadfruit.
It's not anything wrong with trying something that we have. We need to make our kids understand that's fine, you know. It's
Even
okay to
sweet
eat
potato.
our things.
When sweet potato in season, you know, sweet potato chips.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
when you
I
fry it, it
don't-
tastes the same. It's nicer.
when I ask for beet and sweet potato, I want the leaves with it because I cook the leaves.
The
Yeah.
leaves, yes.
Okay.
Instead of
Yes,
using
yes,
dashing
yes,
leaves, I have
yes.
my
Yeah.
callaloo.
I
Yeah.
cook the leaves as well.
And the nutrition, again, I'm a food tech days. The nutrition from potato leaves and beet leaves is much more than what in the
I heard
in
not about the
fruit that you
potato
get.
leaves, but I never cooked the potato. But I guess you could put all these things in your oil now.
Yeah.
And we
that's
just
the
worry
point.
about the
Hindus
end
in
product.
Trinidad,
Yeah.
their callaloo don't use dashing leaf, they use
Use
zepina.
zepina, and we
There's
don't
a
like
variety-
using that.
Yeah, and zepina is a big part of the thing, and they use the leaf from the potato and they use the leaf from the pumpkin as well.
Yes.
Pumpkin leaf is another
Yes,
very
is
nutritious
an-
leaf.
yes, yes,
So it's more
definitely.
difficult because you have to cook
Yeah.
it
Kind
and
of
so
rough,
on.
yes, yes.
But
yes.
there's a way to cook it and so on.
You
But
steam these things and it break down and get
That's
soft
right.
and nice for you.
that's right.
Just like if you're using the we call it the spinach. A lot of people like to use it, but it's just a little steam and it's good. Just
Probably
like
what you need to
stuff,
start
you know.
looking at, Esther, is doing up some some recipes on how to use some of these leaves. And how to
Yes,
use
yes,
some of
that's in the
that.
making. Have a cookbook in the fridge.
Yeah.
You know, I have something like a meal plan, so people who is busy and want to try something,
Correct.
you have vegan once a week or so, you know. Because vegan is not like so much a restriction as they make it sound. You know, it's just you trying natural things,
Yeah.
things that you grow, things that's in your backyard, to do different things, not something that's processed or have all this additional stuff.
One of the complaints our ladies have, who probably are into the cooking more for their families and so on, is time.
Yes.
Because if they're working and they have to get to work for 8 o'clock, how could they do a meal? But, my wife is a career woman, and I can tell you,
Yes.
she's organized, that she knows what she's doing the next day.
From
She
things
have to-
before.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And-
days before. She
and
know
then
what
you
the
have
lineup
the
is.
equipment in your kitchen that you could use. That you don't have to stay grating a coconut. You could blend it
Yes, yes.
and get the
yes,
same
yes.
effect and so on.
Yes.
So there's a way to do it. I think we just need to understand the nutritional benefits for
Of
you
course.
and the family.
Of course, just like the
versus the
Tanya law,
processed
we don't
food.
always have to grate Tanya. You just blend your Tanya and it is magnificent as well. You know?
Correct.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of things we could improvise on and use our own things. Like we don't need to bring in all this stuff. We have a lot of things we could use to make porridge other than, you know, fig, yam. You know, you don't have to always grate your Tanya. Maybe we could dry Tanya and make a powder, so, you know.
You
So
know
a
what I
lot,
saw
a
the
lot
other
of
day?
possibilities.
By
A lot
one,
of possibilities with the things you have, Mr. Campbell.
I
yeah.
saw a YouTube video where they were taking the ripe banana skin. Of course, you cut off the head and the base, and you wash the skin properly, and you put it in a batter and you fry. They call it vegetable ham and bacon.
You want to try it, Chris?
I intend to try it.
Yes, that
Yeah,
sounds
I intend to
interesting.
try it. Yeah.
But I seen
Yeah.
they did the same banana skin and tie it on some bun or something.
Yeah.
And so there's so much things you could do.
Yeah,
Because they
they
say the
tell you-
skin of these things is more healthier
That's right,
than the
because
actual.
red green
The
bananas.
seeds is more healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah, green bananas, they don't take off the skin in some countries.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. I
They
stop.
boil it with the skin,
Just
and if
like
you cut
that.
it small, you could eat it with the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no issues, and of course you might have a little rockishness, but you could put something.
And
to
sometimes
do
it
with
dirty the pot, but if you put a little bit of oil,
Yeah,
it makes it
And a little
easier.
bit of lime.
Yeah, and a little lime.
That's great.
Pot clean.
Esther,
Yes, Mr. Campbell.
in Grenada, you should know that 80% of the business that are registered are small businesses.
Yes.
But the interesting data shows that many of them go on between 3 to 5 years. A lot don't survive, you know.
Yes.
In your case, as a entrepreneur, as a single mother, for example, what issues you faced in arriving where you are now? How difficult it has been? And tell us about whatever training and support you may have received from government agencies and others, and what difference it would have made to your success to date.
That's a very wide question, Brad. Well, I've received, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for you guys having me here today.
Yeah.
God praises. This has a lot to do with my dad, like I say, but in terms of help and stuff for the government, I've done a program with GIDC because I'd done business in the business place that I am in for the past 8 years. I had a bar.
Okay.
So I wanted to change. I wanted to do something natural, something more meaningful, you know, for the public and so forth. And I heard about GIDC with the small business program. So I capitalized on that, and that was successful. And they helped me to buy a lot of equipments and stuff that I need, or what I vision that I would need to make things and so forth, you know. So it helped me to change the business. So it wasn't so difficult. But a lot of the difficulties that I face every day is the slowness of the economy right now. Like from having a bar to go into something like this, it's kind of challenging, but it's a lot of
Profit
patience.
margins from selling drinks.
Yeah.
Where is your market? Marketing
now,
and distribution.
my market is
How-
everywhere,
Where?
I would say, because remember I have a clientele before, you know, but people are in the direction with the help of YouTube and Instagram, knowing more about health. So they'll say, oh, you have coconut oil, you have a small honey, I will support you still, you know. So that helps things to happen. Yes, and I'm not complaining, it's a change, and it's something that I like, so I keep trying every day.
Tell us about some of your products.
This what you
vegan.
have. This is shea butter. We don't have this in Grenada, but I also sell cocoa butter, that we have from here. So I buy from the factory.
Yeah.
Because you know they use cocoa butter to put back in
Yeah,
the chocolate,
yeah.
so I sell that as well for your skin. But
So what are your best-selling products?
my
you would say?
best-selling product is my local juices.
Local juices.
Yes,
We don't.
They're on the table.
We'll get some of those
Yes.
later on.
So, I
So
try
tell
to
us
make,
what
I try
type
to
of
make
local
juices
juices? But,
that's like
Yeah.
with a little healthy. So I'll make passion fruit, but I'll put rosemary in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would put chia seeds in the passion fruit. I would make CMOS, but I would make it drinkable for everybody. I would make it with lime. I would make it with sorrel, you know. Incorporate different things with ginger also. So if you like beet, you try it. So if you like this, you try it. If you don't like, you know, you try
You
something
want to try
different.
sorrel with date in it?
No,
Fruit date?
no.
And you put it to
Date is so
ferment?
expensive.
You ain't have to put a lot, but
Date is
instead
so
of sweetening it
smoothie
with sugar,
yeah.
or honey, you put the dates and you
And
let it
soak it.
ferment.
Right.
That is where you get a nice little gassy thing with the sorrel. Like,
He's-
just
he's
Like
a
a soft
chemist, you
drink.
know.
Right.
So
Yeah. I
what,
want to get into that.
what
kind of
about the
thing.
supply side? Where do you about your raw material? Where do you get this from? Who do you purchase it from?
Well, a lot of
do you
things
grow anything
comes
yourself?
from home. I grow most everything. Me and my brothers.
You
Most of this
seriously?
stuff. Yes, I do. Me and my brothers currently
This
because
is a squash or a young
this is a
pumpkin?
squash.
Yeah.
I grew this, but I thought it was a pumpkin. But the person that gave me the squash to me, it looked
Yeah.
like that, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. So we do a lot of farming around the house, and
So you
I
grew a
grew
lot
up-
of the.
My dad was a farmer, so we
Okay.
do a lot of things, and I very much acquainted with a lot of people around the island that does stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't do honey, but my friends do honey.
Okay.
One of my friends do honey. I don't grind this stuff, but I know somebody that goes to the Nutmeg Association to grind, so I buy from them. I do the cocoa balls. I have an auntie that does that, you know. So it's like it's a network,
Okay.
so to speak. It's a
It's
network.
good
So,
that we have a network
Yes.
locally
Yeah.
that supports
Yeah.
you know, like some people might want some orange peel, but they don't know where to find that. Sometimes your belly hurt any time, you don't know where to
Yeah.
find that. So I gather these things, I cherish these things, you know, and want to present it nice like the wall and sell it.
Chris, I'm really impressed with that. But you know, in our society, Chris, we have a high percentage of single mothers. You know, so the question is: a single mother, what unique challenges you have faced in balancing your personal life and entrepreneurship as a breadwinner for your
Well,
family?
it's a bit hectic, I must say, but I grew up in the environment because my grandmother was a single mother. My mom wasn't a single mother, but my dad was a little bit. Yeah, so it's like we always have a shop, so I know about the shop running, getting up, running on down, taking care of the kids. You know, it's like I'm the first out of 7, so I'm used
Okay.
to doing a lot of balance, and I'm also a Libra, so I balance a lot. I run around and try to make it happen every day.
So
you
what
know?
message you'll give to other women, especially single mothers who
Just
might be
keep pushing,
considering
girlfriend. Just
starting
keep
their own
going.
business?
Just keep going. Whatever your desires are,
Yeah.
Mr. Byron, just keep at it.
Yeah.
I would say to the young ladies out there, especially who have experience like me, who would have gotten pregnant early. I got pregnant at 19. I was in Tam Sisi to be exact. And today my son is almost 18.
Wow.
So you just keep doing what your desires are. Sometimes you have to work to accumulate something, to do something you like. But if you like business, just always keep for it.
Yeah,
know,
when you
keep-
like something, it's
when
not
you like
work.
something, it's either
Yeah.
come like up.
Yeah.
Because for me, I just do a lot
yeah,
of hours. Sometimes things slow, but I might stay there for 16 hours, for 14 hours. You know, I do a lot of long hours. And I also have a lot of shop in Hermitage where I'm from. So it's a lot of running around, but my son kind of grew up in that manner. You know, mommy always going. So,
Yeah, it's a good role model.
Well,
Let's put it that
well,
way.
yes, I hope
Yeah.
it doesn't affect him otherwise, but it's like, you know, you're trying to
You might
balance. You
become
have
an
to.
entrepreneur like you or expand
I
your
hope
business.
so.
Yeah.
I hope
I'll show
so.
you how to expand
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I hope so, because they're more intelligent than us. So, yes.
Esther, the other thing is, of course, you're into vegan or more plant-based initiatives, and these are increasingly seen as sustainable alternatives to processed imports in particular, and animal products. And it's alleged that they support better health outcomes and reduce other issues. But how do you see the market here growing?
There is a lot of room for
Yeah.
improvement, but I
Yeah.
think we need to look at the bigger markets and take simple things that we could follow to make it happen for us as well,
Yeah.
because we have a lot of things that waste.
Do
And I know there's a lot of people doing the programs, going to China, and they have what it takes to make it happen. So I think it's just a matter of time to get the network together.
Yeah.
work together and make it happen. Because
Have you approached like the
our countries-
supermarkets? When we go into the supermarket, Chris, I mean, I
Not
did
as
experiment.
yet.
I walk out and I turn back, and everything within my sight was 100% imported.
Yes.
And a significant amount of it was processed foods. But secondly, we have the problem of packaging, a lot of plastic packaging, and this, of course, it ends up in perseverance. But do you think sufficient has been, we're doing adequately to change that lifestyle, where the young people, of course, they've been influenced by social media and what they see on television in terms of those processed foods. So
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
I think we need to step up a lot because, like I said, there's a lot of things that we are wasting, period, like a lot. And the kids really don't know. So we can't blame them. We're in the age where we want to make them happy all the time, you know. So there's a lot of room for improvement, I would say.
I mean, you packaging orange peel. I want to just highlight that one. But a lot of our children don't know how you could make a tea with orange peel to help you with stomach issues.
No, because we just give it to them.
or,
We just
or the flu or something like that. So, you know, the one thing with herbs though is that we don't ever seem to have a proper dosage and strength.
No.
So sometimes we may overboil. I mean, like black sage is a good thing, a good example. You cannot use green black sage leaf to make tea.
No,
It must be yellow.
dehydrated.
I didn't know that.
Yes, because the green one carries a cyanide component that could be deadly to you. So you must pick, that's why older folks used to always pick the yellow and black sage. And black sage makes a lovely tea,
Yes, it does.
you
it
know,
does
but you
indeed.
must use the yellow black leaf instead of the green.
I would say most of the herbs, even though like you might get that from them, if you don't boil, you just bring to a heat,
Yeah, draw. more
draw.
than-
Yes.
I mean, so
I believe
leaf,
so. Or you just pour the hot water, you cover
waste,
it down,
yeah.
and then you.
so
I
some
think-
leaf is an excellent.
Because I think the body has its way of
Yeah.
getting rid of what you don't want. If you're getting too much, you just push it out in somewhere else. So.
Just give us a rundown of some of the products that you have.
Well, I try to have a lot of products. I try to have.
Name some of them. I see
Okay.
cocoa balls. I see.
Well, I
You see, you have
okay.
Zeba Pick.
Yes.
Tell us about Zeba Pick. Not much people know Zeba Pick. Right?
Zebapik is a very bitter herb, and
Very
they
bitter.
said it's used for cleansing. That's what I know. Like if you have a
Yeah.
bad cold or
Yeah.
you know you want to lose some weight or clean your tummy, and so we use Zebapik from growing up.
You use
You know,
Zeba Pick for
Zeba Pick.
worms as well.
for worms. Yeah.
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 But you have to be able to take the level.
You have to be
Yes.
able to drink it.
Moringa. Yeah.
It's dried moringa leaves.
Yeah. This.
And things like what the quinoa, we don't have
Right.
these things
Yeah,
here,
we
so
don't
I
use that
bring,
here,
I try to buy
Lot
these
of
things
vegans
in
use
big
quinoa.
and break it down. Like the Adventist people sell
Some
these
protein
things.
or
Yes.
It has a lot of protein.
A lot of protein, and you can use it. With
And these are
rice,
oils
you can-
here?
Yes,
These are oils
yes,
here
yes.
in the
Instead
front
of using
bottles
rice,
there?
just like the barley and the
Yeah.
others.
Are these oils here in the front bottles?
Yes, this is a small
Small
honey.
honey.
So the
Okay.
intention is to make honey more affordable
Yeah.
for everybody to have a sweetener.
And this
when
one is what?
This is a grapeseed oil. So I buy a big oil and pour it some so I can sell
Okay.
it for.
Yeah.
So somebody can buy a $10 bottle.
So grapeseed oil is used for what?
Skin, hair, different things
Okay.
they say it's good for, but you know it's different strength, different.
Grapeseed. I never
Grapeseed.
seen
So
it
Yeah.
person
from oil
wanting
from
those
grapeseed.
products, where do they go? They have to call you. They have to.
They
so-
can call
so-
me,
So
but I'm in Paddock.
Paddock, yeah.
I'm on Belmont Road,
Right.
like just before you go into Belmont on the
Right.
Springs Road, but the end of Paddock.
Okay.
So I'm in the intersection
Okay.
in the building of the old pet shop.
Yeah.
Everybody know what the
Where
old
the
pet shop
shop.
used to
is.
be, yeah.
Mr.
I-
Francis Pet Shop.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Next
right
side
there.
nights.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
in that.
okay,
I'm
right.
in that building for the
Right,
past
right,
9
right.
years.
She has local CMOS.
Local CMOS. So
Shout out to my landlord, Mr.
Right.
Wayne Williams.
Okay.
We've been rocking for a
Okay,
while.
right. So Esther, where do you see vegan foods in 5 years from now?
A lot of things. Well, the vegan movement in the world is going fast. There's vegan makeup, vegan
Your
bags.
Your business.
I would like to have all these kind of things. I would
Yeah.
like to help people like the M&IB to have things that we don't have. And I like to do business all around. I like freestyle business.
Okay.
So when the other places close, I like to be open and provide these services, plans, whatever, things to plan.
So what are your opening hours like then?
Well, it's hustling and bustling now, so I do a lot of long hours.
It's 24/7.
Yeah, kind of trying to
Yeah.
do the 24 hours.
And we see
Sometimes
you-
I'm there from 7:38,
Okay.
and then I go through the day, you know.
Yeah.
If I have to run a little errand, I step out and come back, and then I leave like 6, 7,
Okay.
8.
We see you have some plants here. Some you also aloes and
Aloe,
other
rosemary, and
rosemary.
a little fern. you
Okay.
know.
This
Try
is
to
one is
like these,
decorative, yeah?
Yeah, it's very
Okay.
decorative. They spread very
Okay.
fast if you want
So you're
to.
quite versatile in terms of what you do.
Yes, I want to provide a wide range for Grenada using our things.
So
What we
so-
don't have,
yeah.
we get it to come.
Right.
What we don't need to bring, we use
A lot.
ours.
We have a lot that we
We
can
have
do.
Yeah.
a lot.
So what kind of partnership and support you'd be looking for to take you to the next level? Or what you're really looking
Well,
for?
I would like people to know the location, of course, and what I'm doing, and knowing that they could count on me to source things as well. Terms of partnership, like businesses that would like turmeric. I have a lot of that. So if somebody want to, I don't necessarily have to send you a small portion. I can sell you a big portion,
Big
but
portion, yeah.
yeah.
And you can do from an agro-processing
And I
standpoint.
could start to dry and make my
Right,
own powder and
Correct,
send it.
correct.
You know.
I mean, there are people doing powders. But
Yes,
I
you
mean,
have a lot of people. That's why I just buy it sometimes, and because everybody, it's a network you're trying to build.
yeah.
And
What
this
I've never
person, because
seen
you can't do everything.
Yeah, that's correct.
You know, I can't leave and go and wait to grind it, so I would rather to buy some.
What I've never seen happen with this when we grind it is put a little black pepper in it.
Yes, and we learned that on YouTube. I do that now.
Put
Because
a
I make
little
these
black
shots in these small bottles. I sell them like $10 based on what it is. Like turmeric, I have a lot of that, sell that one for $5. So
Right.
it's the turmeric, I put the tip of black pepper to activate the...
Correct. And it
Yes,
helps with
and-
the digestion as
And
well.
when people
Yeah.
have that, it's like, they get a spike,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
So did the training and support you got from the GIDC, how would you have described that? How
Phenomenal.
how did
It was
make a
amazing
difference,
because
to you?
they touched different aspects. Like they gave us communication, a little bit of arithmetical maths, English, they give us the business aspect. They break it down, tell every way you can learn to record. They let you go and register the business, learn about the NIS procedures. So it was a great thing. But it's just that it happened really quick for me because I'm trying to sell at the same time, take the
so you
class,
were double tasking.
go and get what you have
Yeah.
to get the quotation. But it was something very nice. I like to encourage young people to try,
Yeah, because
if you like business, you should check out
check
GIDC.
GIDC. Because
Yeah.
what GIDC is saying, there's a rising trend in women-led micro-business,
Yes.
particularly in agro-processing and food production, with greater focus on health-conscious products. So that's an
Yes.
important statement we
Yes,
see
ma'am.
there.
That's good.
But where are the men? For example, the courses that you did and the training, where were there men active? Were they in numbers or women dominated? What you saw there?
Well, in my group, it was kind of balanced, but there were less guys, of course. But
Less-
the
less
guys
men.
were more interested in different areas, I would say.
Okay.
But it had us to be something within the region, the climatic and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far they got in their projects, but I see people doing their cane juice, other persons trying different things. I think one guy did farming in my group as well. So the person's trying, but the guys need to stick at it, I would say, because a man has more responsibility. So if you're trying something,
Stop.
If you're trying
I think
something.
women have more responsibility.
well, when I say that in providing, looking the expectation of providing. So if
Yeah.
he come and he do a business like me and he find he can get into for a year or so, he go say, boy, I
Gone.
can't breathe. Yeah, he go give up. But
That's
the woman
it.
go ban she belly and she go
Yeah.
say,
That's
I
right.
go try another year again.
Chris, and that's true because what we
But you go
noticed-
say, I'll go and do some construction
yeah,
and come
yeah.
back, and
yeah.
lock up that day, I go store that day and see if I could do it again sometime. So I would like to encourage young men as well to keep trying at what
That's
they
a
like,
true statement, Chris, that she's making there.
Because
What
my
we-
son
yeah.
like the sea,
Yeah.
but there is not much sea, it's so complicated. So I haven't given up with the sea, and he ended up.
TAMCC or you just finished TAMCC?
No, he didn't do TAMCC.
CC.
He
Yeah.
likes the sea. He wants
Yeah.
to be captain and stuff.
Right,
And
I'm getting
he
there.
likes to
I'm getting
dive.
there. I
And
want to give you some
yes.
direction to give
Yes,
him.
well,
Yeah.
I would love that.
That
But,
captaincy is something we don't push
Yes.
in young men who like the sea.
And we're surrounded by
Push him,
water.
push him there because captaincy
Yes.
could be a major career for him.
Okay.
I just had a young man that finished his captaincy, his third
Okay.
officer, and so on and
Yes.
so on. and making.
And I worked on cruise ship for almost 5 years. So
Yeah,
You did?
so, yeah.
my son
Okay.
liked the water.
Those
So
third
he,
officers
and
second
he
officers.
actually saved a child life already within
Yeah.
his experience.
Push him there, push him there.
And he loves sailing. So he
Yeah.
done a lot of things in Lafayette Blue.
Right.
And he actually worked with Star Winds a little bit as well. So
tell
he
him-
get experience,
Tell him
you know.
pursue the captaincy thing.
So I
and
think
see
the
where
guys
you
just
can
have to
reach
just,
with
even though you like that and you mightn't have the opportunity and stuff, you need to pursue what you like.
Yeah.
And look at the venues of
Yeah.
where you to get out to achieve and succeed in what you
I
like
think
doing.
government is pushing
Yeah.
young people to get there.
Yes.
Even though he has to go in TAMCC and do a part-time course on what is required.
Yes.
Let him go there. If he
Definitely.
like the sea so much,
Mhm.
tell
He
him
just
don't
wanted
give
to
up his
work
love.
right away. So no.
So-
He wouldn't.
So Esther, we run out of time, but
Okay.
what advice you'd give to young Grenadians or to single mothers who dream of starting their own food-based or local business?
Well, young ladies, I like to say to you, making a child is a blessing to begin with,
Yeah.
and don't be negative. Stay positive. Whatever your desire is, look for the avenues. There is YouTube, that's the university, and follow the direction. Get to the necessary people you need to,
Yeah.
and keep going.
And of course, how can
Yeah.
people support Stars Vegans Food? Where can they find your products? Tell us again.
Paddock, in the old pet shop.
Old Pet Shop.
Yes,
Big
just, okay, now, you know, Island Pool guys, where they sell the pool things in Grenada. That's where I'm located. I'm just opposite this building and the machine shop. Everybody goes to the machine shop to press
yes.
something
Alongside
or
the
so.
same side.
Yes.
Yes, on the same side. I'm in the middle of there,
Yeah.
just in a little corner. My
Machine
number is
shop, right.
417-556-3.
Hold on. The number is 417.
My number is 417-556-3,
You have to go there and
5563.
support
One
Esther,
time
you know.
Yes.
I mean, we're so impressed with this because we believe that
Little as it is.
Yeah,
Five,
I
563?
appreciate 417-5563.
Vegan.
Stars Vegan
Stars
Foods.
Vegan Food.
Because you see, Chris, I think as where our country is now, and when we look at the food import bill, $250-300 million annually, we have to focus more on local foods and that are affordable, as Esther tells us.
Make
So
we
this is
want
the
little
kind of
fruit things
enterprise
for the kids,
that
so
we
they would
really
things
want
that
to
would make them
support.
like they
Yeah.
like. So we'd have to bring in all these candies,
Candies, yeah.
all these ring pops,
yeah.
all this and that. We can make
Yeah.
some stuff, you know,
Yeah.
because we are sending people to China to learn things,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So we need to just make the space so work together and make the thing nice.
Good.
So remember,
Thank you.
Thank
visit
you.
Esther at Stars Vegan Food
In
at,
Paddock, in the
at
old
Paddock.
pet shop. You
Old
guys
Pet
know where
Shop.
to find me.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
coming,
very
Esther.
much.
It's a pleasure.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, thanks.
Pleasure to have.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks, Esther, for coming, please. Viewers, that's
Thank
all
you,
the time we
Grenada.
have for tonight.
Unfortunately, we can't share these products
Yeah.
with you. We're going
Yeah,
to
That's
that's-
all right, man.
yeah.
That's
No, we
all
take
right.
it
They
to-
have an idea. No problem.
we want to thank our
I
technical
really
staff.
just saw the sample for you guys,
Yes.
so you guys can check it out.
We want to thank our, and Esther has a lot of drinks to it, she tell you. A lot.
A lot of Simmons thing, guys. I just make things for you all. Cola nut
Wow.
and Morby, things with no sugar and stuff. Check in, fall
Coconut
in.
and Bobby, that
Wow.
should be a good energy drink.
Yes.
Wow.
Especially the cola nut.
Yes.
Chris, I'm going to pass. I'm going to check this piece
Yeah.
out.
I want to check out the cola nut
Absolutely.
and thing.
Yeah.
It may seem wild, but it's
Check
a
out
good look.
Esther.
Check
and,
me
and
out.
a lot of the stuff she grows herself, that's the other thing.
Yes.
So she's really integrated
And
into
it's
the
all a
business.
learning thing. I'm learning every day. I
Yeah.
learn something new.
Yeah.
Every day I learn something new.
Yeah.
But we
We're
need to make the things more
yeah.
affordable. You know, we should sell small coconut oil like this.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't have to buy these things big and
Yeah.
pay $10 and $15 for a little bottle of oil. You know,
Yeah,
we can make it,
coconut oil is
man. I'm
$45
happy that I
a
learned
month.
to.
Yeah.
And
I'm
honey-
happy I learned to make it. You
Yeah.
know,
Honey, I
I only
just-
75 now, 80. You know. So we
Viewers,
need to make
thank
these
you.
things
Thank you,
affordable.
Esther, again. Viewers, that's all the time we
Thank
have.
you.
Thank you. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Good evening.